right. Good afternoon, Nick. It's good to have you on the call. Thank you for number one. Thank you for coming onto the interview, and number two, thank you for all those great pictures that you sent across. They're going to make a massive difference to the book that we're busy publishing. And yeah, it's going to be great just to talk to you and reminisce on your time as a JP oarsman. So with that, I guess the first question is, why rowing? What drew you to the sport in the first place?
I mean, to be honest with you, my mother was so my mom worked at JP Girls from about 1993, and there was something about rowing that she always enjoyed. So she put me and my brother into club rowing when we were in grade 4, so standard 2. So when we were little, we did rowing. And then my brother was a year above me, so he got quite involved. And I'll be very honest with you, I wasn't actually super keen to do it full time. My father bribed me into doing it for a pair of binoculars, as I really wanted a pair of binoculars, and he said, "I'll buy you a pair of binoculars if you go to September camp." So I was like, "All right, now I'll give it a bash." Yeah, and I suppose the rest was history. I loved it. It sort of catches you.
Brilliant. And so your final year was 2004. So is there anything that strikes you about that year in particular?
Oh, and that year in particular, not so much that year in particular. It was, for me, what was a big one was I took a gap from rowing. I took a gap as a first year open. I think the commitments of rowing were quite substantial, so I took a year to try and take some time off. And then I know that there was a need. There was a shortage of coxes. So I was a cox. And when I was going into first year open, there was an abundance of coxes. So I was like, listen, I want a bit more time. I'm not going to be letting anybody down. I'm going to take a walk. And then the guys came to me, and all of a sudden coxes they left. So they said, listen, Nick, we're quite desperate. Don't you want to come back in and just cox the first 4? That's it. No other commitments. Just please come and cox the first 4. We're not, we're struggling a bit. So I said, yeah, no, sure, guys. Let me jump back in. And then I jumped back into first 4 cox. Then Nick McCann and Grant Celia picked me up as second 8 cox. And then I think the first, I came in as first quad, and then I got swapped mid-season from first quad to first 4. So yeah, and I think that was quite a good one. I think in my rowing career, I was quite lucky. My age group were pretty good performers. I mean, we did pretty well actually going through the years. So I was fortunate enough that being the guy in the boat driving and yelling, I ended up with guys that were big and strong. Got us a lot of medals.
You can tell them what to do. Yeah, you can tell the big guys what to do. Cool. Yeah, I mean, and you talk about that time, taking that time, and the demands of rowing, and I think there's a balance between enjoying the sport, loving the sport, and understanding that there's a massive commitment in it, and there's a massive, there's dedication there. It's 7 days a week. It's early mornings, it's late afternoons, and it certainly does take time. It really, really does. So well done for going back, and great on the results.
Yeah, thanks.
So I mean, as a oarsman, as a rowing guy who rowed, how has JP rowing impacted on your adult life?
Yeah, I think immensely. I think the joy of JP, just being a JP boy, is the kind of bond and the kind of spirit that you have for the school. It's quite a thing. And I don't know if rowing takes that and times it by a million. It's a very rare occasion that you have a JP rower that doesn't have like a hardcore blood of black and white. So I think it develops certain levels of commitment. I think, like you said, the time and stuff is commitment. The discipline is hectic. It takes a lot of, rowing takes a lot. There's concentration, there's etiquette, there's sportsmanship, there's teamwork. There are all those sort of things that you can kind of take into your adult life. Time management. If you don't get on the water in time, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it takes quite a lot. I mean, again, going back to coxing, I'm in leadership positions at the moment, and I think a lot of that was due to the fact that despite my size, you have to be loud to be heard. So that's done me well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, we were just talking earlier about what the JP rowing community has been doing, and how they've supported JP boats and blades in particular. So, what are your thoughts on building the rowing community and bringing old and current oarsmen together to help equip this current season and future seasons?
I think it's a fabulous, Greg, like chatting to you, I think it's a fabulous initiative. I mean, when I joined, we were quite fortunate that we had just had an influx of new boats. So, when I joined, the under 14s just got a new quad. The first 8, I think, just got a new 8. Like, we came in just at the time where certain new boats were coming in. I do know that when we were under 16, it was the bane of our existence. I can't remember the name of the boat, but he was a wooden beast, Rapier, I think. That thing was a tank. And I know that the 2 years above us loved it. They broke a record. They had a downwind. The thing was heavy. They pumped that thing and caused an absolute savage record. So every time anyone after that complained about the boat, all we'd hear is how it broke a record. But hell, that thing was a tank. So we were desperate for a new boat then, and it's a bit sad to hear, that's still something that goes on, that we fight for boats. The fact that the first 8 didn't have their own boats is arguably a travesty. So I think it's a good initiative. I mean, it's hard to compete with some of the bigger private schools that can throw a new 8 in every few seasons, and we wait till that 8 is sinking. So I think it's a great initiative.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I know the Rapier, and before that the Alley Cat as well, which is also a wooden boat. Those things beats in Bachas, so there's I think once you get them going, you can't stop them. That's the bottom line. They're unstoppable because they've got momentum going for them. It's just crazy.
I think, what did we get? I think Alley Cat and maybe Glaive were, no, maybe not Alley, or it was a renamed Alley Cat. And those were the new carbon fiber 4s, and this was like, other than that, and I think the first 8 was Damascus. It was like our first carbon fiber boats, and we were like, these things. They were John Wars, and then slowly Wayne Severin started to build boats, and we started to get some Severin boats as well.
Yeah, brilliant. So, really importantly, from your time as a JP oarsman, can you think of a significant memory that you'd like to share with us?
Oh, just there are many. I suppose most of them revolve around initiations and recce's and remits. Now you arguably can't talk about. I don't know. There are many. I mean, camps. Every camp, I think, like, the team talks that you have just before a big race are always actually quite memorable. I mean, I was a fairly sporty guy, and even in the other sports, the rowing big chats seemed always big. But I think if we're looking for random memories, I think it was, we decided as a second 8 the one year that the best place to have a team talk was at Röderplaat, but in the campers' bathrooms, away from everybody. And those campers' bathrooms were suspect, to say the least. And while getting changed, a bat attacked one of the guys.
Oh, wow.
I think attacked Jared Thompson, and Jared Thompson ended up whipping this bat with his shirt. And everyone thought the bat was fine. And as he was trying to put the shirt back on, the bat was in the shirt. So obviously that team talk didn't have as much gumption behind it. But yeah, that one, I think that's a strange memory to stand out for. And then maybe I had good memories of Buffalo. When I came back, my intention was only to cox the first quad, like I said. Those guys were my year, and they asked me back. And then the second 8 guys took me under their wing. They were like very, very good to me, and they were like, Nick, I know you only came back for this, but don't you want to please cox us? Like, we have got mass respect for you. So that was really nice. We had some excellent days at Buffalo, even though it heaved with the rain.
Oh, really?
I remember that we got our Buffalo kit and that rain jacket, that anorak that came with it. I still actually have it. is probably the most waterproof anorak I've ever had. I just remember, Cox's job is to clean the boat, and I took it quite seriously. So, I got in a bit of trouble because I sat cleaning the boat in the rain. Maybe that was superfluous, but it was a big memory. You know what? You talk about memories. What I should have thrown out hell was we were the first year they decided to put an octuple up.
Okay.
So they put riggers on rapier, and they set up rapier as an octuple.
Okay.
So I mean that was already a beast. And then obviously octuples, they wouldn't go past under 15 because then you were too big and it would just warp and bend the boats, etc., etc. And we were in the middle of a race, and we had 2 octuple incidents. One where I can't remember the guy's name, Andre something or other. He caught such a monumental crab that it knocked him out completely.
Oh, wow.
Unconscious.
Wow.
In the boat. His blades are shipping, and the guy ahead of him had to bash him on the head, and then he woke up, and then he had to carry on, and I think he still placed second in that, but absolutely knocked him out. So then we had an agreement, schoolboys, we had an agreement that if something happens like that again, like somebody's equipment fails or something goes wrong, you jump, you get out the boat and leave it. So I think you assume people didn't believe that that's what you had to do, but we had some guy who was racing, and then his slide buckled out, and his slide got caught, and he couldn't remove his slide. So somebody just yelled at him, "Ship in your blades and jump." So he shipped in his blades. He dived out the boat. As the boat came past, his head came up. 2 blades went between his head, went through, and then he came up right by my Cox's box, and he looked at the stroke, and he was like, "Win it!" obviously we came like 5th or something. We were a man down, but
that sounds fantastic. Well, Nick, thank you so much for your time. It was really great speaking to you, and we appreciate all that you've given to us in terms of the support and the photos, which will certainly appear in the coffee table book that we're working on. And then for everybody else, please feel free to visit our website, have a look and see what we've got going. It's updated all the time, and you can see what's happening. It's jpboatsandblades.co.za. And until we speak again, keep pulling for gold. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Greg. Good work with you guys. Thanks, sir.
Thanks, man.